Why is it taking so long? Okay, I think we're live. Let's look. All right, live on YouTube, live on Faceplant. That's what you need, a faceplant. Oh. I gotta bump that one light up just a little bit in the corner. Can't do it now. We'll have to wait. I should have double checked that earlier. Yeah, maybe just a hair. I still don't. This damn thing is. I don't know why. I don't know why that background is at an angle. I'll have to change it out tomorrow. Remind me. Change the background tomorrow. We only have 40 of them. Jeez. I got to get that other thing set up. That way I can put all 40 up on that rod and just flip them over and make it so much easier than the way it is now. Oh, I like the. Yeah, I didn't pay any attention to that. I like the light on the vulture. Your family member up there in the corner. That light is hitting it just right to accent the whole hanging bird. Yeah. Your relative. Right here. Your relative. Yeah, your relative. You could be next hanging up there. Oh. Okay, 7:02. Nobody here yet. Where's my stylus? All right, got stylus. And we got the music ready. And we're at 73%. I didn't charge that enough. One of these days, I'm going to get that other tablet going. I'd like to use my damn Microsoft Surface. I don't know what the hell went haywire with it. Probably something stupid. I hate to have to take it to a computer shop. I don't know what went haywire with it. I shut it down. I go to start it up. It won't let me sign in. I sign in. It goes right back to the sign in screen. I sign in. Goes back to the sign in screen. And I know it's the right password. The username is correct. The password is the same one from day one. I don't understand. I think you screwed with it. I think one night after the show, you got down there, were messaging your relatives, and you screwed up my tablet. I really wanted to use that one too. Well, if nobody pops in by 7:05, we're going to start. Or maybe 7:06. I don't know why the audio visualizer is so small. I adjusted it to make it bigger, and it's still that little dinky, little blippy. I hope the chat looks all right. I adjusted the font in the chat. Well, I think we're going to start, even though nobody's here. From the WDWL TV multiplex, live from Studio 2, we bring you with great anticipation the pride of the network. Oh, not just the show, the pride of the network. The grumpy old man and the grumpy vulture. Would you like to take a bow? You're thinking about it. Well, you just want to go back in the corner? Oh, you'll take a bow. Okay. Yeah, pain in the ass. All right, do it nice. Do it nice. Do it nice. Okay, that wasn't bad. Banner's a little crooked. Back in your spotlight. Oh, I forgot to turn your spotlight on. Well, hold on. 1, 2, 3. Whoop. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, asshole. Let me put this down. Look who's here. Of course, Kathy number 1 and Jenny's here. How you doing, sweetheart? I'm glad to see you. Matter of fact, I know Kathy and I are both glad to see you. I changed the font in the chat just a little bit. I'm not sure if I like it that size or not. I'm trying to get something that's really easy for me to read. Yeah, it looks all right so far. We'll see. How's the little one doing, Kathy? Did that little overdoing it teach her a lesson to slow down and let nature heal the way it should? You know, I ran through the other night's show, and I see what you mean about the names of them two idiots. I didn't catch that. You're more observant than I am. I missed that. Good, Jenny. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Very happy. You make me happy. Yeah, you know, when you're young like that, you think you're invincible, and then you learn right away, like, whoop, gotta let nature take its course. It'll slow her down now. I think maybe I'm just my opinion. Maybe that scared her. Like, I'm pushing it. Because I know she wants to get out. She wants to get on that softball field. I know it, I know it, I know it. She wants to start getting in shape for the season. I don't know if the season started yet or not. I know it's driving her crazy. I know how I was after all of my surgeries. I'd be like, oh. Especially at first hernia surgery. Holy shit. Yeah, and you know, I've never seen any of them. I've never seen any of those names, so it was a bunch of idiots, you know, the spammers. They were like, "Oh, let's pick this one tonight. Let's aggravate the shit out of this old guy." Oh, is she gonna have to play catch up, huh? I just hope that when she gets the okay, she doesn't overdo it. Because I can imagine she's chomping at the bit. Probably got blisters on her finger from texting all of her friends. I can't wait, I can't wait, I can't wait. She'll be texting so much she'll have to go in and get carpal thumb surgery. Okay, do you remember Richard Karn? Oh, okay. I never followed softball, so I don't. I remember. Oh my God. I was I was probably maybe 11 or 12, and there was this group of softball players. They they were called the King and his court, and it was only four on that team. Oh, four. That's it. And I'll tell you what, those four guys beat the other team by a landslide. And the other team was a full team of players. Was called they called themselves the King and his court. It was the most amazing softball game I ever saw. I never heard of them. My grandfather said, "Oh, you're in for a treat." And they were playing, I can't remember, maybe at Parma High. And they traveled all over the United States. These guys were unbelievable. How four guys could beat the other team. They played that well. I'd never heard of them. Of course, I was like 10, 11. And my grandfather had told me, and we got the obligatory program. They had traveled. They played in every state in the United States. Every state. Those guys were amazing. Okay, back to Richard Karn. He was Al on Tool Time. After Tool Time, it was like he dropped off the face of the earth. You never saw him at least I didn't. I don't ever remember seeing him in any other program. Well, I'm watching my YouTube videos and on comes an ad for some Wonder garden hose. Who's hawking the garden hose? Richard Karn. That's stooping to new levels of lowness when you can't get a job on TV and you're doing commercials for a garden hose. It's that when you turn the water off, it winds itself up, and then you turn the water on, it's like a big snake. Yeah. Good old Richard Karn, hawking a garden hose on YouTube. It amazes me how you get some of these shows, and Tool Time went on what? 10 seasons? And then gone. You didn't see anybody except the main, you didn't see the wife. You didn't see the kids. You didn't see Wilson. You didn't see Al. They disappear. The money my agent would have made off of me, I would have been, hey, asshole, get me some work. Find me another series, something. But part of the problem is they get typecast. I don't think I could see Al playing a detective. Because you would think back to him in overalls, maybe an undercover detective, but they get typecast. That was like, oh shit, what was his name from Married with Children? Oh my God, what the hell was his name? Now, he had played in some other shows. Matter of fact, he played a detective in one show that I was... Immediately, my mind went to him sitting on the couch with his hands in his pants, watching TV. Yeah, Al Bundy. He played bit parts in some other shows. You can't get that out of your head. Okay, Linda. Take care. Take care of. I'm glad you popped in to tell us. The car buying story can wait. I've told it so many times. Handle your problem. We understand. And I appreciate you popping in saying, hey, I got a problem. So go take care of calm the little one down. Ed O'Neill, Jenny. Okay, I couldn't think of his name. Ed O'Neill. You got the, yeah, right. Bingo. Could you see him as a detective? Your mind immediately goes to Married with Children. Same thing with the daughter. What the hell was her name? Christina. I can't think of the last name. Yeah, Linda, batten down the hatches. Take care of the baby. We understand. What the hell was Christine? What was her name? I know she battled cancer, and now she got MS. Applegate. Bingo! You're right on, Jenny. Christine Applegate. I knew you'd get it. Anytime she was in anything else, I immediately saw her as the airhead blonde. No matter what part she played. When you do a series like that, you get typecast. And there's a lot of times that agents have a hard time getting you work. Are you hearing the music? This is my inconsiderate asshole neighbor. You'd think he was a kid. Oh, good, his wife just yelled at him. He comes in playing his Puerto Rican music full bore like some little teenage kid. And he's got to be, I'll say, in his 50s. Oh, I love Married with Children. I love that show. But the sad thing is, when Ed O'Neill would play a serious part, it was hard for me to wrap my head around it. Same thing, Christine Applegate. Now, I know agents are out there constantly trying to get work. But a lot of times, the agent's going to get told, hey, he ain't right for the part. Now, Ed O'Neill's agent really must have pushed, because he was in several shows afterwards, but you never saw anybody else. And I was talking about Richard Karn and Tool Time. Remember the son, Zachary Ty Bryan? He was, I think he was the older son, blonde hair. What a loser he turned out to be. He has been arrested multiple times for DUI. Multiple. He's an alcoholic. And he's been arrested several times for DV. I didn't recognize him in his mugshots. I was like, holy shit. When you're a child star, you can't handle it. Especially when you're on a series like Tool Time that runs what? 10 seasons, 12 seasons? And then all of a sudden, you don't have work anymore? Now, I would hope that they were smart enough, mainly his parents, to put that money away. Now, that's like these college kids that get drafted into the NFL. And they get, $5, $7, $10, $12 million a year salaries, if not more. And they get that big, huge signing bonus. And what do? They go out, they buy 3 or 4 exotic cars, 2 or 3 houses, buy all their friends gifts. They don't save a goddamn dime. And then when their career is over, they're flipping burgers at McDonald's. And then, as if LeBron James isn't a godzillionaire, he's doing YouTube commercials for games. Some goofy game, something like fucking Candy Crush. He don't need the money. Well, the oldest one turned into an alcoholic, and I think every cop in California knows his name and his face. Now, I guarantee their parents were on their ass. Once they didn't have TV work, you need an education. But they're like 1 in a million. How many of these child stars end up on Skid Row? It's almost as bad as, what's her name from the Mamas and Papas? After Cass Elliot died, she was young. The hell's her name? I think she was in a TV series too. I want to say with Valerie Bertinelli, but I'm not. I know she sang with the Mamas and Papas. She turned into a goddamn drug addict. Man, when I saw her booking photos, I was like, holy shit. The drugs really took her over. That was like, as soon as, LeBron got signed, he goes out and he buys his mother a Hummer, And then he had a goddamn house built somewhere around Akron or that, about the size of Mackenzie Phillips. There we go. There's my savior, Jenny. Yep. Remember when she went downhill, ended up on Skid Row? Yeah, LeBron had a house built the size of a warehouse. He had like 10 or 12 exotic cars. What do you need 10 or 12 exotic cars for? You can only drive one at a time. And then, he's a gazillionaire. And then he's got to stoop that load up. Hawk some goddamn Candy Crush game. Yeah, it was sad seeing the dive that Mackenzie Phillips took. But like Robin Williams had said, when you get rich and famous, the drug dealers just bring whatever you want, no charge. You want a pound of cocaine? Here you go. Just tell your friends who your supplier is. Give them my number. It's sad. It's sad to see how many stars ended up worthless. Ruin their careers. Because the worst thing you can do is get into drugs. Agents won't touch you. They're like, oh, you're done. Because after Mackenzie Phillips went to rehab, she was done. Of course, she goes to rehab and then she gets hooked right away. Yeah, one day at a time. I was trying to think of, Valerie Bertinelli was in the news recently, too. So was, God, oh, I'm coming down with dementia for sure. The the Olympic athlete, the little pixie. She won the all around gold in the Olympics. Gymnast. She almost frickin' died. She come down with, they said something similar to COVID, and then she didn't have hospitalization. Yeah. But then after the divorce, I don't know what happened, but she got severely sick. And to find out she didn't have hospitalization? What happened to all that money that she got after the Olympics? All the goddamn endorsements. Yeah, well, that marriage didn't last. Mary Lou Retton, yeah. Mary Lou Retton. She got sick, almost died, had no hospitalization. What? What did they do with all their fucking money? God, after she won the gold, God, she was endorsing everything. Not to mention how many of those stupid commercials she did for what, Rite Aid or something? Well, and another thing, oh, if I'd have heard that one more time, I'd have kicked my TV set. But to find out that she basically really doesn't have any money, what do they do with their money? You know, then it's her fault. If you're going to let your manager get that deep into your finances that they can steal all your money, then you deserve it. Evidently, she, the first thing they tell, you get a manager and you get two or more attorneys. And an estate planner. Mary Lou, she made a gazillion. Every time I turned around, she was endorsing something. I think wasn't she the first one on the Wheaties box, the first female on a Wheaties box? Yeah, that's a sad story there. Her goddamn parents back in the day, she was making big money. And she made a shitload of money. Yeah, I remember seeing her on some talk show, and yeah, she said her parents robbed her blind. You know, it's bad enough you can't trust your fucking manager. You can't trust your fucking parents. And it's it's no different than it's no different today. These childhood stars, they fall into the same trap. Oh, Jenny, I agree. I agree. Oh, look who's back. Hey, don't feel you have to stay. If you got storms coming and you got little ones to take care of, I appreciate seeing you. We all appreciate seeing you, but hey, every now and then I go on the movie channel and I watch some of her movies to this day. And it's sad that every time her movies get played, she don't get a residual from them. But I enjoy watching them, especially when she, what the hell was animal crackers in my soup? Just the shit I remember. I can't remember names, but I can remember stupid songs. But at least, what did she end up? Senator, congressman? Wasn't wasn't she end up in government? Or she was an ambassador? All right, but if you got to go, don't feel obligated. What did Shirley Temple end up? Was she Congress, Senate, ambassador? I'm drawing a blank. Because whatever she spoke out on a lot of this shit with the childhood stars. I know that. She was very vocal about it. It's just sad that, that shit happens. I think I'm going to stick with that font. The chat's a little easier for me to read. I think I got it just the right size. It looks good to me. How's it look to you guys? See, part of the problem when I go in to adjust the font, it doesn't look the same when it comes up on the screen. It looks great as I'm doing the adjustments. But then when it comes up over here, it don't look right. That's why I've been playing with it lately to get it to a perfect font. I'm turning into a fontologist. Uh-oh. I think I just invented a word. I'm a fontologist. Grumpy, the fontologist. Oh, shortly before showtime, I ran up to the corner. Guess who was there today? The little Indian princess. She looked like Mrs. Mahatma Gandhi today. Oh, was she laid out? They must have had some special program at school or something, or at church, or that's right. I knew you guys would save me. I knew she was in an official position. I couldn't remember which one. But she did a lot of speaking regarding childhood stars. Oh boy, of all the places to put her. Ambassador to Czechoslovakia. Of all the places. Of course, she was an ambassador. I'm not going to take that away from her, but Czechoslovakia? She couldn't have got something better like ambassador to England? Ambassador to Scotland? But she was an ambassador. Who appointed her? Was it Reagan? I can't remember what president appointed her. I want to say Reagan. There was an amazing, to go from being a cowboy in the movies to president. That was unbelievable, that one. I lost my train of thought. I was going somewhere and I lost my train of thought. Was it Richard Nixon? Holy shit. Good old Tricky Dicky. I'm not a thief. Yeah, okay. Boy, he went down in flames. Then to save his ass, the first thing was he got pardoned right away. Oh, okay. I'm not good in history. But that was another amazing thing. To be a child star and then end up delegate to the United Nations, ambassador. Kind of a success story there. At least she got some money back. Oh, hang on a minute. My lumbar support slipped. There we go. I love this chair. Oh, God, I've got to buy another one. As soon as I save up enough money. This thing is so comfy. Was the best suggestion that was ever made. Get a gaming chair. Oh. Especially when I popped the footrest out, I could lay down and take a nap and plug in the back massage. Where did Linda disappear? I'll tell her the car buying story if she's got enough time tonight. Otherwise, we'll save it for tomorrow. Why don't we save it for tomorrow? What do you think? We save it for tomorrow since she's got storms coming over there? Because I don't want to rush that story. Oh, God. As soon as I walked in the door, I didn't even see her. Well, she's so tiny. She come around the corner of that counter like 90 miles an hour. Them patent leather shoes sounded like she was tap dancing. Screaming, "Funny man's here! Funny man's here!" Then she runs in the back in the corner. And her uncle was back in the corner doing something. And she comes running up with a box of cookies. Now, I didn't need a box of cookies. I couldn't break her heart because she was standing there watching until I checked out. So I took the box of cookies and I thanked her. I says to her, "Oh, thank you. I forgot all about my cookies. Cookies for the funny man." She comes running down the aisle. "Cookies for funny man. Cookies for funny man." I'm thinking to myself, I just bought them yesterday. I bought another box and make her happy. Oh, she was late. I don't know where, well, the outfits come from India. I know that, but she looked like a Indian princess. I don't know what well, Mom was all laid out too. So I don't know, maybe they went to church or something because she's homeschooled, so I know it wasn't school. She come around that corner and was like, whoa, red and gold. God, she had more gold on her than a gold mine. But she's adorable. Oh, God, she's adorable. I didn't know she come around the corner and I heard them little feet running back into the corner of the store. Next thing I know, I hear them coming back. "Cookies for funny man, cookies for funny man." And her father's looking at me like, I said, put them on the counter, put them out, I'll take them. He said, if I didn't take them, she'd have noticed and I'd have broke her heart. She is adorable, though. Little pixie, little Indian princess. That's what she looked like today, a little Indian princess. Man, That red dress had more gold trim on it. And, almost down to her ankles. But she come barreling up with them cookies. And Dad just looked at me like, I got that look like, you really want them? I was like, yes, I'll take them. I said, she ran back there to have her uncle take them down off the top shelf. And they're the crappy cookies, because I bought the last box of the good ones yesterday. This is from the other bakery. I'm like, oh. So I got a shitload of coconut cookies. But man, she come around that counter and ran into the back of that store 90 miles an hour. Them patent leather shoes just. And another reason I took the cookies, because I asked her father, I said, is she like this with any other customer in the store? He said no. For some reason, she's took a liking to Funny Man. That was another reason I had to take the cookies. Okay. Because he knows they're not the good ones. You sure you want those? I said, oh. He said she ran all the way back there to get them. Not to mention she's standing here eyeing me. Put them in the bag. And I thanked her. I made it. I'm glad you got those. I forgot. I really did. She had a big smile on her face from ear to ear. Then she ducked back around the counter, got on her little stool behind the counter to watch Dad wring the cookies out and put them in the bag. So I was screwed. I had to take them. Oh, God. I guess I should feel honored that I'm the only one that she takes to like that. Because he told me she's really shy. He said, not with me, she ain't. Because the cookies are way up on the top. So I know she had to get her uncle to get the cookies down. And she come barreling up with them. And then everybody in the store is looking like, who the hell is this guy? Unbelievable. So I bought cookies yesterday and cookies again today. I'll be in cookies for a while because I really don't like that other bakery. They overbake them. They're too crunchy. Bakery 1, oh, you take that cookie and it snaps right in half. These, from the other bakery, you need a hammer and a chisel. And the good cookies won't be here till next Friday. Although tomorrow, my new weed cutter will be here. The weed cutter with a saw blade. I'll be able to whack my backyard now for sure. Good old Temu. Got it on sale. $24.95. comes with 2 metal saw blades, and then it comes with 2 weed cutting blades and 4 lawn cutting blades and 2 batteries. And it's on wheels. So I can, because right now, I'll tell you what, my backyard looks like a jungle. Man, them weeds grow fast back there. Holy shit. I got weeds that are over 2 foot tall. I had been looking at this thing for a while, and I wasn't going to pay $49.99. I was like, and it come down to $24.99 with 2 batteries and all the goodies and the wheels, and I was like, I'm going to take it. And UPS will have it here tomorrow. Now watch it rain for the next month. The only problem is I'm going to have to find somebody that sells those saw blades. Not that, these things are going to get dull, but I'd like to have more than 2. And they're the way they attach. They're special, So you have to get the particular blades and cutters that go with that machine. And it never fails. Temu don't carry a bunch of parts. Matter of fact, I should have bought them right away. There was a 3-pack of the saw blades that were like $11.99. I'm like, let me think about it. I go in there today, they're all sold out. So I hope somebody, although whatever the return address is, I'm going to write them. If they don't have an email, I'm going to write them and say, hey, I need some extra saw blades. I like to have a lot of spares. Same thing. I bought 2 years ago one of them little mini chainsaws that they advertised on TV for $49.99. It's got like a 6-inch blade. And it shows them, cutting through. And I'm like, yeah, it don't work like that. Well, they reduced it from $49.99 to $39.99. I said, all right, I'll take a chance. Holy shit. That little 6-inch chainsaw is amazing. The only problem is I burned out one of the batteries. You can't find them. I'm going to have to go up to Battery Empire and see if Mike, some of these batteries he can rebuild. Because I only have one now. And I've got a tree to cut down. And I don't like to overwork the batteries. Because if be my luck, I'll fry the second battery and then I won't have nothing for the goddamn saw. Oh, Kathy, they're amazing. what it shows on TV, it does. That little, as a matter of fact, Marianne, Miss Ultra Skeptical, was so impressed she bought one, and her brother bought one. They are unbelievable for that little 6-inch saw. Unbelievable. I found on Amazon I can get the 8-inch bar and the 8-inch saw chain. I get the bar and 2 chains for like 24 something. I'm going to order it. That way I'll have the 6-inch bar and then I'll have an 8-inch. Because any of this shit on TV, I am very skeptical about. I took a chance on that little chainsaw. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I had 3 huge shrubs in my front yard. They were up over the gutters. They were that tall. And they're taxus. And taxus are real hardwood shrubs. It whacked through them shrubs like butter. As a matter of fact, that saw is now on Amazon. Amazon has a whole selection of them saws. So, if you're interested in one, I'll go on Amazon and I'm sure they still carry it. Because that one I would trust. Now, I'm sure all of these saws are made in the same factory in China. But the one I bought, I would recommend. As a matter of fact, like I say, Marianne bought one, and then Marianne's brother bought one. And they are both super happy with them. Especially Marianne. She's, talk about a doubting Thomas. Holy Christ. She saw me whacking through that shrub. She was like, I want one. So I showed her which one it was. Yeah, they're outstanding. And like I say, I'm going to get the chainsaw and the bar. Because sometimes that 2 inches is the tree that I've got to cut down, I'll be overworking it with the 6-inch bar. So I want to get the 8-inch. But outstanding. And I'm very picky about power tools because 99% of my power tools are Ryobi. I have never had a bad Ryobi power tool. But Ryobi doesn't make a mini chainsaw. Not to mention their prices have been inching up lately. And then, if you've noticed with the tariff threats, prices have been climbing even though tariffs aren't into effect. Everybody in that panic mode. Oh, let's gouge the public. As much as I don't care for Amazon, You know, the first time I saw Ryobi in the homeless depot, I was a little skeptical because I'd never heard of it. But I'll tell you what, you ought, you'd think I was a Ryobi dealership with all the goddamn shit that I've got. Not to mention I like the green color. Well, I got my fingers crossed. I'm hoping that's a decent machine. I'll find out tomorrow. It'll be here before showtime. Matter of fact, if I feel like it, I'll put it together and I'll show it off. But another reason I bought it was because it came with 2 batteries. That way you start trimming, and what I do is I always, every now and then I check the battery. If it starts to get warm, pop it off, put the other battery in, put the other one on charge. Oh, the old one of them, the old logging saws. My grandfather had one. I don't know whatever happened to it. He had one of them logging saws. I remember one day we were sitting in the backyard. He had a file. He was sharpening each tooth on that saw blade. I have, oh God, the Ryobi shit that I have. Jesus Christ. I don't even want to think about it. And besides the power tools, you know, they'll have the bit sets, like the drill bit sets, or the you know, nowadays you need a goddamn bit for every goddamn screw on earth. I have a bad habit. I go into Homeless Depot, I walk past the power tool section, and of course Ryobi, it never fails. They always got some new toolkit on sale. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll take one of them. And I get home and I'm like, gee, you got one similar. Oh, I'll keep it. I've got big drill bit assortment kits, and all the way down to little one. Oh, Jesus. But nowadays you need all that shit. You know, it never fails. I'll need to tighten a screw, and I don't have a bit to fit the goofy head, you know. Especially when they came out with those damn torque screws. You can't put an Allen wrench in it because it won't fit. So you got to buy the bit kit so that you have every goddamn torque screw bit imaginable. Hang on a second. This was the one I bought like in January. 55-piece bit set, which you have to have nowadays. It's got every bit imaginable. I think it was only like $8.99. I grabbed that. I was like, oh, okay. I must have a shitload of these because Ryobi, every time you walk in the store, they have a different one. You know. I have a toolbox full of these bit kits. That's me. If it says Ryobi and it's green, Grumpy's buying it. Hey, Wyatt, how are ya? Oh, Huskies are pretty decent. They're pretty decent tools. Of course, if it isn't going into the homeless depot, the worst place for me is Harbor Freight. Between homeless depot and Harbor Freight, the adult toy store. Although, I'll tell you what, you can't beat Harbor Freight's tools. Their Pittsburgh line or that new line they come out with, Icon. I'll tell you, I needed a new jack. So I bought me one of them NASCAR jacks. That's real low profile, and instead of having the two goofy wheels on the front, it's got a big long rolling roller. Long handle and about 3 pumps on that handle, and that jack is up. And then the jack stands, the 3-ton, they're perfect. Yeah, well, when I go to Harbor Freight, Linda, I have to take somebody with me. And I tell them, like, if I get to $50, drag me to the cash register right away. Rarely do I get out of Harbor Freight under $50. Rarely. Walk through that store and go, oh, look, I haven't got one of them. Oh, I'll take one of them too. I've got 2 sets each of 1/4-inch sockets. 2 metric, 2 SAE. 3/8, same thing. 2 of each. 1/2 inch, 2 of each. Not to mention, I like their multicolor. And every time I go in, they have like a new style ratchet. I'm like, oh, jeez. I must have 10 quarter-inch ratchets and 15 3/8 ratchets and a dozen half-inch ratchets. Because one's got a certain bend, another one, but I've never had a problem with them. I've never broken one. Matter of fact, the impact gun that I bought, because you need them for goddamn lug nuts. Man, is that thing nice. Since I can't trust my basement, my living room is half storage and half tool bin. I got more goddamn fucking toolboxes and tool bags and but that's my passion, tools. I just wish that, I could afford a big tool cabinet, but it's too hard to move once, so I've got everything in separate bags. My ratchets are in a separate bag, and I get the Husky tool bags. Let me put these out of the way. Give me a sec. Put these back where they got them from. Years ago, it used to be Craftsman. I couldn't go into a Sears store. When we had Sears up at 110th and Lorraine, tools were in the basement. I'd go in the store, and first thing my wife would do is grab me and go, nope, no down escalator for you. But Craftsman today, they're crap. I wouldn't buy a Craftsman anymore. Oh, a girl after my own heart. A girl with a toolbox instead of a purse. All right. My kind of person, Linda. Matter of fact, after high school, I was dating a girl for a while. She worked with me at the county. And we were sitting around having lunch. And she says, I wasn't paying too much attention to her. She was sitting with a couple of girls from the office, And I heard her say, after work when I get home, I got to change the oil in my car. And immediately I went, what? She said, yeah, I got to change the oil in my car. I said, can you and I chat at break time? I found out she did her own tune-up. She did her own brakes. I dated her for, oh God, a couple of years. Then I can't remember what the hell. She left the county and she got a job and she had to move down in southern Ohio. I lost track of her, but instead of going out on a date, we would go to either Sears or Harbor Freight, look at tools, work on our cars. What? Oh, God, that was a girl after my own heart, man. It was, uh, it was great because when it come time to do a tune-up, I'd be doing the oil change. She'd be up there changing spark plugs, setting points. But her father taught her from a young age. Don't don't depend on a mechanic. Do your own work. Learn how to fix a car. And he taught her, and he taught her good too. Yeah, girls today, I I truly believe that every girl should take an auto mechanics course, even if it's a basic, because you can't trust garages today. You can't. You can't trust the dealer, and you can't trust, it's sad, a mom and pop garage or like fire. I don't know if they're all around the country. Firestone, you can't trust Firestone. You can't trust Goodyear or Midas, or you can't. It's sad. They take advantage of women. And if a female don't know the basics about a car, she's screwed because they'll take advantage of her left and right. You would think that shit would be different in today's society, but nope. Everybody is out to screw everybody over. That's why to this day, first of all, I won't own anything newer than a 2000. Although if I get the Passat, that's an '01. But Christ, in order to work on a car today, you got to have a $3,000 goddamn scanner just to determine why the engine light came on. And everything is sensor this and sensor that. It's like, oh. I enjoy working on my own vehicles. I really do. I'm itching to get out there and get working on that RAV. I want to hear it run again. Not to mention I want to drive it. I miss driving that little thing. My 97 RAV4. I love that little car. Now I see why Marianne loved it so much. It's sad seeing it sitting in the pad behind my house, and Marianne looking at it every day like, ruh-roh. An aluminum baseball bat. Holy shit. That'll put the fear of God in somebody. But you know, Linda, that, we'll call it mechanical society, is getting smaller and smaller because most schools don't have auto mechanics anymore. These kids, they're lucky to know a headlight from a tailpipe. And it's sad that the garages know it. So they're going to take advantage of you. And of course, they're going to tell you you need shit you don't need just to make money off of you. I tried getting my son. He had no interest in auto mechanics. I was like, you're going to be screwed because you're not going to have a buddy to fix your car. But see, Linda, most women, they don't know. So whatever the garage tells them, they're going to go with. I have been preaching for years. As soon as a girl gets a driver's license, she should take an auto mechanics course. They used to offer at Tri-C basic auto mechanics for women. They had an evening course. It was like twice a week for, I think, 6 weeks. And they taught you bumper to bumper the basics. Now, they didn't teach you how to rebuild an engine, but at that time, they taught you how to change spark plugs, how to check your, buy an ohm meter, check your spark plug wires. But that's rare, Kathy. That's rare. It's wonderful that they do that. Absolutely. But it's rare. When I was in high school, we had a couple of girls that took auto mechanics. They took wood shop. They took metal shop. And they weren't butchy girls. They didn't want to take home ec. But none of the schools around here have shop courses anymore. I took wood shop. I took metal shop. I took auto shop. I took electronics. Everything. And between that, what my grandfather taught me, and the night courses I took, Kathy, you would know 130th and Brook Park. If you come east on Brook Park, you had Chevy Parma. Right across the street from Chevy Parma used to be the GM Training Center. In the evenings, they ran night auto mechanics courses. It was an 8-week course, $20, and $20 paid for the shop supplies. And it was amazing how many women we had in that class. And there were multiple lifts. You bring your car in, do a brake job. It was amazing. Closed. No longer there. Go on. Now, see, the girls could take shop. The guys were not allowed to take home ec, which taught cooking and that. And I always said, not every guy is going to get married. A guy needs to know how to cook. Nope, not offered. I said, 90% of the chefs are men. Nope, not offered. Now, lucky, my grandmother taught me the basics. But schools aren't like that today. Not around here. It's sad. It's sad what we're turning out as graduates the way it is, let alone they come out, they're stupid. And sewing, they don't teach that anymore. They probably teach you how to buy a dress at Target. I remember back in high school, the girls made all their own clothes. I remember sitting in study hall and the girls comparing dress patterns. Oh, I got this one. Oh, can I borrow it when you're done? They would trade dress patterns back and forth. Because girls were taught how to sew. Not today. Try finding a sewing machine shop or a fabric shop. If I want to recover the seats in my Rav, I got nowhere I can buy fabric. Even at Michael's, they don't carry fabric. We used to have Jo-Ann Fabrics. They were like every 5 blocks was a Jo-Ann Fabric. Not no more. There used to be sewing machine shops everywhere. We have one in Lakewood, but it's goddamn $3,000-$4,000 sewing machines. I remember back in the day, everybody had a portable machine because you had to have one. Same thing, typewriters. Everybody had a typewriter back in the day because they taught typing in school. I still have a typewriter. I can't remember if it's a Royal or what. It's a little portable. You take the lid off and the typewriter's right there. Little dipsy doodle machine. I still use it. I tell kids, this was our word processor back in the day. They look at it like, what the hell is that thing? It's a typewriter. Yeah, I bought ribbon for it recently. It needed ribbon. It dried out because I didn't use it enough. I've got a typewriter out in the garage that a friend gave me. It's got a goddamn 2-foot wide carriage on it. He freed up all the keys. It was sitting, it got wet, and one of these days I'm going to finish cleaning up, put a ribbon in it. I don't know what I'm going to do with a typewriter with a 2-foot carriage on it, but oh, I forgot to bring the accordion in. I'll have to bring it in tomorrow or Sunday. My grandfather's accordion. Well, Jenny, I'm sure you cook enough to get by. But at least you could change the oil and filter on your car. I'm going to have to look into Tri-C and see if they still offer. Probably not. They used to offer that basic auto mechanics, and the class was always full. But it was a different time. You know, today you need a computer to fix your car. Back in our day, we needed tools and knowledge. And an auto manual helped. I have Chilton's manuals for every vehicle I own. Because sometimes I need a little guidance. Matter of fact, I just ordered a set of spark plugs for the shit box. I got a plug that's missing. And here's another thing. Today you have to do a shitload of research. Now, for my 97 Nissan shitbox, if I go up to AutoZone or Advanced Auto Parts, 4 spark plugs, anywhere between $32 and $38 for 4 stinking spark plugs. I went on eBay today. I ordered brand new NGK Iridium, which are the more expensive plugs, $13.99 and free shipping. You can't even afford to go to an auto parts store today. They want to fucking rip you off. I buy all my brake parts from out of Detroit. I rarely go into an auto parts store. I ordered everything for the RAV4 off of eBay. The fuel pump relay, the fuel line. I got everything 50 to 60% cheaper off of eBay than if I would have gone to the auto parts store. Same thing. If I need a battery, there's a place up the street called Battery Empire. Now, get this. He sells batteries, brand new batteries, but they're after the sell-by date. Now, these batteries are brand frickin' new. But like AutoZone and Advanced, they cannot sell that battery after the sell-by date. Why should I go to Advanced and pay $120 for a battery when I can go get a brand new with a warranty battery for $39? Brand new, guaranteed. But it's after the sell-by date. There ain't nothing wrong with the battery. It's brand new. Not to mention, the kid that owns the place lives up the street from me. He delivers. I need a battery. I tell him, hey, Mike, I need a battery for the shitbox. I give my credit card on the way home from work, but here's your battery, Grumpy. Thank you. I can't afford to go into an auto parts store. And they wonder why eBay is kicking their ass. You know, Linda, back in the day, like the house here, the owner made all the cabinets in the kitchen. Every single one. Kids today don't know how to do that shit. You know, the guy that owns this house, which is a childhood friend of mine, there's a table saw in the basement. There's radial arm saws in the basement that he won't get rid of. And it's sad. They're just wasting away. But kids don't know how to use that shit today. We're turning out a world of stupid idiots. You know, for your son-in-law to do that, that's a rarity, Linda. Because woodworking is an art. It's like a body man. You have to have a feel for that wood. You know, like when you're sanding it, getting ready to put a finish on it. You know, you run your hand over it. Oh, I got a high spot. Oh, I got to sand that a little more, you know. Oh, over here, I got to look at it, you know. It's a lost art. Everything's getting to be a lost art. Woodworking, metalworking. mechanics. But see, the goddamn auto manufacturers are building cars today to put the backyard mechanic out of business. They don't want you fixing your own car. They want you to take it to the dealer. What, and get ripped off? I wouldn't trust an auto dealer today. Really? Holy shit. In Idaho? Well, damn, you've been around. The same person that stood next to me in Kaiser Meats went to Idaho and worked in a cabinet shop. Unreal. I'm still amazed by that, Kathy. To think at one time we could have been standing side by side in Kaiser Meats. And you end up here because of that. Oh, wait till you see what I ordered as a joke. Oh, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. I'm going to do a show about it. It won't be here till Monday, so it'll be next week. I got me another Ohio license plate, but it's a riot. I ordered it as a gag. Oh, that's disgusting. You know, evidently, you get fired for a reason. And it's usually poor workmanship. And if you can't face yourself in the mirror and go, I can't cut it, then you're low life. Then to do something like that, the guy that hit me with a 2x4, I'd have been in prison for murder. I'd have beat the shit out of him. Yeah, Linda, it's a possibility. Eons ago, that Kathy and I could have been standing next to one another in a Hungarian meat store or the bakery, because I know we wouldn't have been standing side by side in the funeral home. I know that. Bakery? Yes. Meat store? Yes. I was standing there ordering, and Kathy'd be back there in the back going, when's this asshole going to make up his mind what he wants to eat here? Get out of the way. I got shit to do. God, when I found that out, it still amazes me. Talk about a small world. Then you went out to a cabinet factory in Idaho. I got a chat full of woodworkers and mechanics, and unbelievable. Well, I know that story well, Linda. See, I unfortunately have a son who thinks starting time is a suggestion. Starting time at 8, I'll be here at 8:20. So I know that story real well. Every single job he has ever worked, including high school, it's a suggestion. It's sad. Sad. Christ, every job I ever had, I would be at least a half hour early, if not an hour. So I could come in, get a cup of coffee, sit down, chat with my coworkers. Then when it was starting time, let's go to work. Although it was a different time. I tell you what, I miss working for the county, worked for the clerk of courts. That was a fun first full-time job. It was a. I worked at the Auto Title Bureau. But I mean, it was just. I couldn't work in an office today. We did our job. We joked around. We had fun. We could smoke. Sit at your desk. Nobody cared. Hell, the boss smoked cigars. He'd walk around with a stogie. Oh, I hated to be late. Oh, God. But yeah, I'd be there at least a half hour early, if not earlier. Because you get there and you unwind from the drive in. Because you're driving in morning rush hour. You need to decompress. And the first person, I can't remember Ray's last name. Ray lived like 10 minutes from the title bureau. Ray would get there like 2 hours early. We had a 40-cup coffee maker. Ray would have the coffee ready to go. You walked in the door. We paid $1 a week to the coffee fund. Ray always kept them coffee pots going. Matter of fact, we had two. We had a 40 cup and a 20. And Ray always made sure there's creamers and sugar. We paid $1 a week. Everybody in the office kicked $1 in. Ray took care of the coffee. So it was nice. You get to work, you go downstairs, pour a cup of coffee, go upstairs, sit at your desk, bullshit with your coworkers. Up, it's 8:30, time to start. And you went to work. And it was, oh God, it was so much fun. I looked forward to going to work every day. I really did. Not to mention, Cleveland's number one AM radio station was up on the top floor. I got to know all the disc jockeys. I almost became one until the FCC stepped in and went, this school isn't accredited. That was one loan I hated paying off, believe me. Because I got nothing to show for it. Well, I got a certificate that said loan paid. I didn't get my broadcast certificate. But I actually got to sit in the booths where the disc jockeys worked. That was fun. But it was a different time. Life was way easier back then. You know, that was a time in our lives where either if you quit a job or got fired, the next day you had a job. It was that easy. Although I'll tell you what, I have never, in all my years, seen so many "we're hiring" signs everywhere. Whether it be McDonald's or machine shops, we're hiring. Nobody wants to work. Because there is a generation of freeloaders. Kids were handed everything. At 12 years old, I had a paper route. I learned how to save money. When I turned 16, I wanted a car. Nope, nobody handed me a car. God, I drive past the high school. I see goddamn BMWs and Range Rovers, and that's the student parking lot. I'm amazed. One day I drove through it. Beamers, Range Rovers, Cadillacs, Lincolns in the school student parking lot. What parent gives their kid a goddamn Land Rover? But that's the problem. They give them the car, they pay the insurance, they probably give them a credit card for gas. And they don't have to work for nothing. They don't have to save. And it was basically after my generation. What are the millennials or whatever? And it's even worse today, because shit goes downhill. Matter of fact, my high school math teacher lives about 10 houses from me. And we were talking about it. I says to him, have you ever gone through the student parking lot? He said, yeah, I was shocked. Audis, Beamers, Land Rovers, Cadillacs, Lincolns, and all newer shit. Then you go over the staff and faculty a lot, and they're driving 20-year-old beat-up Fords. The millennials started the shit, giving their kids everything they wanted. Didn't make them work for it, didn't make them save for it. A generation of spoiled, rotten brats. I've told the story several times about my friend down the street and her daughter in the clique. Oh, well, that's another thing. We give them everything. Health care, welfare. My friend's daughter in a clique. Every year, when the new iPhone comes out, the whole clique, their parents buy them new iPhones. She come home crying one day. She's like, oh, my friends are shunning me. And her mother was like, why? She goes, well, I got an iPhone 15. Yeah. Well, everybody else has got a 16. Yeah. Well, I got a 15. Now, instead of her mother saying, who knows the difference? But hold on, let me get my credit card. We'll go out to the Apple store. Go out to the Apple store. Little Miss Crybaby gets her iPhone 16 so she can stay in the clique. Basically, all them little princesses need their asses kicked. And their parents need their asses kicked even more. I don't have the nerve to say that to my friends, but I'd love to say, you know, you need your ass kicked. She don't pay the phone bill. Mom pays for the phone. Mom pays the bill. Just so little princess can stay in the clique and not get shunned by her friends because her iPhone isn't the latest, greatest. And then, you know, you got to have the pods. Oh, my friends, they all got ear pods. Instead of mom saying tough shit. Let me get my credit card. We'll go to the Apple store. Not around my house when I was growing up. Holy shit. You wanted something? Work for it. Save. I remember I no sooner saved to buy my first car. Oh, I was on top of the world. I said to my father, I said, can you put me on your policy? I'll pay you. No. Pay your own insurance. You ain't going on my policy. I couldn't drive that car for about 3.5 months. So I could save enough money to get auto insurance. And my father took the keys to make sure I wasn't going to drive it. And it was titled in my name. When you got insurance, you'll get your keys back. So when I showed him the paid policy, he gave me the keys to my car. It was titled in my name, registered in my name. Give me them keys. Not kids today. Holy shit. I tell them the way it was. They're like, oh man, your parents were ogres. No, they taught me right. If you want something, you gotta save for it. You gotta pay for it. Nobody hands you anything. Not today. Oh, I'm sure we were all raised that way. Because nobody gave our parents anything. They had to work for everything they got. And they raised their families the same way. You want it? Work for it. Save for it. Although I'll tell you, in that 3.5 months, my car had about that much wax on it. Because that's the only thing I could do was go out there and wash it, wax it. I couldn't even start it up. Because I didn't have a set of keys. And when I brought home an insurance policy that said paid for 6 months, my father said, here's your keys. And then at the end of that 6 months, he was standing there going, show me the renewal. And thank God I was able to save enough money to renew that policy. Otherwise, he'd have taken the keys again. Not kids today. It's a sad world. Yeah, I remember a couple of my friends, their parents were different. The kid bought the car, but the parents, they paid the insurance. I remember my buddies coming over and say, hey, let's all go for a drive, I said, I can't. And in front of my father, they were like, what do you mean you can't? I don't have insurance. And then they had the nerve to look at my father and say, he's not insured? And my father just sat there and said, until he buys his own insurance, that car ain't moving out of this yard. And they thought he was an ogre, which he was. But I learned the responsibility real fast. Because I wanted to drive that car. Because I saved, scrimped, and paid cash. Not to mention the title transfer, license plates. And I still couldn't drive it. 3.5 months it sat. Goddamn summer was almost over before I got to enjoy my goddamn car. And Kathy knows what the goddamn weather's like here in northeastern Ohio, and I had a Fiat convertible. By the time I got the keys back, it was like September. Oh, I enjoyed the top down a lot. Everybody thought I was nuts. I'd have the heater going full bore, keeping my ass warm, driving around with the top down so I could enjoy my convertible. And then my two little prissy sisters, they got cars and insurance handed to them. That was, buy a car and didn't even have the keys. I couldn't even listen to the radio. Because he was afraid I might sneak out with it. I'm like, it's in the backyard. I'd like to play the radio while I'm... Nope. Don't you have a transistor radio? Well, yeah. Well, play that. You ain't getting the keys. Okay. But it taught me responsibility. To this day, if I don't have the money, I do without. Oh well. Save up. And a lot of times if I don't have the money, then in a way I really didn't need that item that bad. But we were taught responsibility. Nothing was fucking handed to our generation. Because like I say, our parents had to work for what they had. Nobody handed them anything. And as much as I hated my ogre parents, in a way I thanked them for raising me that way. Even though I couldn't drive my goddamn convertible in the middle of summer. On that note, it's outro time. Right here, we know where. It was a fun chat tonight. I enjoyed it. And Linda, tomorrow night, if there's no weather problems, you'll hear the story of how my grandparents bought cars. And you'll love it. You'll laugh your ass off. Everybody have a wonderful evening. I hope the storm don't bother you, Linda. Jenny, if you're hanging in somewhere, great seeing you tonight. Kathy, like usual. Good times. We will meet again tomorrow night. And with that,